Xabi, the two most successful managers, you've played for both of them, Pep Guardiola, Jose Mourinho. Can you explain, what is it about them? Can you describe it?
Well, describe them. I think that they share many things, but above all of them, I think that both they are leaders. They have that charisma, that special thing that whenever they get into a room, that everyone knows that the boss is there, that we have to listen to him, and you know, they have different visions in terms of football, but in terms of leadership, they share many things, and they are very, very into the detail, very into the game, and yeah, that's why they've been in the top of the elite for the last few years.
Well, you said they're very similar in lots of ways. What are the differences, mainly sort of in management, not so much on the pitch, but in terms of how they go about getting
Well, they have
results?
different personalities, but and they have different approaches of the game. But in terms of how they ambitious they are, how they go into detail, how they respect the opponent, they spend so many time analyzing the opponent, because they know that nowadays you need to there are certain moments when you have to adapt your own team to have an advantage over the opponent, and they spend much time, and they are very hard workers, because it's not just about your knowledge. You need to work a lot and to be very, you know, self-demanding, and you want to with your players, you be very demanding. You have to be the first with yourself, and they are one of those ones.
You've spoken about, you know, the similarities in attention to detail. Is there differences in how they go about leading up to a game on the training pitch?
Well, yes, because they have different approaches to the game. Pep, he likes to spend a lot of time, and how to build up the game from the back, even from the goal kick, from the keeper, the center backs, to have a good understanding of where is going to be the space or where is going to be the advantage, and he spends many times with those things, and in the defensive side as well.
Which of the managers was maybe more interested in the opposition?
I think both. Maybe with Pep we spend more time from the tactical side, but Jose maybe with less concepts, but very clear concepts of what he wants, or how he wants to be more compact in defense and wait to the right moment, and the movements in attack maybe were more simple, but were effective as well.
And in terms of them as sort of men, you know, we talk about man management as players, were they completely different there?
I wouldn't say so. I think that, as I've said before, as a personality they have big similarities. I think that they connect very well with the players. Face to face, they embrace you. They want you to be part of the project. They want you to be committed to the team. And when they have the feeling that this player is committed, then they know that they will fight for him, whatever happens, and that's what they want. Players that they are committed and that they want to follow the team.
You know, when you sign for Mourinho, you sign for Pep Guardiola, you know they're fantastic managers because of the success that they've had. But how long does it take for you to, when you're working with them, to think, yes, this man's top class?
First meeting.
Yeah?
Yeah. I remember perfectly the first meeting with Mourinho. He came from Inter. We came from the World Cup that we won in South Africa, and we met in Los Angeles. And the first meeting, 5 minutes, you already know that why he's there and why he's so good. And with Guardiola, it happened the same to me.
What is it? Is it the meeting that they give? The way they
it is the way they. For me, the good thing is how they are able to deliver the message that they want to the players, and how they are able to connect with you and to express that idea that they have. Many times you know something or you have in your mind, but you don't know how to deliver it. And for me, it was very. I got that idea very quickly from them. With Pep, I signed very quick for Madrid, and without training, I came into the team. And the night before, we had a meeting, him and myself, in the hotel room, and we spoke for 1 hour, 1.5 about football. And I said, wow, I was really impressed and really motivated, and that's what I want, to have a manager that motivates and that gets the best from me.
You know the battles we had at Liverpool with Chelsea and what we thought of Mourinho at the time, but when he went there, was he similar to how you thought, or was it completely different, how he was over that 2 or 3 years you were with him?
It's completely different when you are on one side or when you are on the other side. But
he's still
of course,
the same.
It's still the same because when we were at Liverpool, you said, well, he's. But at the same time, you have that feeling that, wow, he's good, and I want to compete against the best ones. And when you're on your side, you have that feeling that he's really good, and he was great.
You know that obviously the big games then with the big Clásicos with Pep via Jose, and was the sort of the motivation that he gave that team maybe spill out onto the pitch, you know, in the team meetings, building you up before the game?
Well, yeah, I have. I the memories that when the first Clásicos with Pep and with Jose were coming, it was all about them, you know, because they are such big personalities. They are so attractive to the fans, and so there were some big expectations. But our team, Madrid and Barca, they were 2 levels above of us, because they were so good at the moment, and we were still building. And the first game was 5-0 in Clásico. It was my worst experience on a football pitch. You know, it was from 20 minutes. I wanted the game to be over, but it took us around 1.5 years. Mm-hmm. And from that moment, I think that we got into the same level as Barca. We changed few things to control better Messi, because he was the one that was making all the difference. And once that happened, I think that we were at their level. Different game, different style, but at the same level.
How did that game affect sort of Jose as the manager? You know, he never really lost big games or lost by that score. Did that affect him, or did he change in the months or leading up to the second Clásico?
It was a big big setback, or big for all of us and for Jose as well. But I think that we had to accept that at that moment we were not at the highest level that we could be, and we kept going.
So then you go to Bayern Munich, and you come with a manager who plays in a similar position to you. Was there that intrigue even at when you were at Real Madrid, thinking what they did at Barcelona, the type of manager, how they play, always thinking I'd love to work with that manager?
Absolutely. For years I had been on the other side suffering how good they were, and you know, it was because they were great players, but at the same time you could feel that the machine was working so well, and that's not something that happens when okay, you play. Had to be so much work on something different, and it was like big. I had big curiosity how was to work day by day with him, the ideas he had, why he was doing certain things to get to another point, and it was 2 years with him, but I was really grateful. I learned so many things, and you know, and now he has another challenge, and at the moment it's looking good, and it's a big expectations wherever he goes. He has big expectations, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I think you were in your 30s, yes, when you signed for Pep. You were in your 30s when you signed for Pep.
Yeah.
Even at that stage of your career, a lot of people think what you'd achieved, World Cup, Euros, what you've done at Madrid. Was it during him you still thought there's so much more to learn?
Absolutely, and that was a reality, because from the first day I started new perspective, new methods, new movements, new things. why he gives so much importance to how to build up the game, because he thinks once you have a good build up, you can play better. Why he thinks it's better to press high, to have the strikers to be really committed on the defense, because once if the strikers are committed, the other ones they follow. So he spends so much time putting emphasis on certain things that before maybe I didn't thought that much about that, and he changed many things in my football perspective as well.
Well, what did you think as the players when Pep comes in and he does change things? He puts the full-backs into midfield, he puts midfielders at the back. I think maybe you played some games at centre-back.
Yeah.
What's the feeling for the players there? It's like something to new, or some managers you may say, I don't understand, why would you do that?
Well, I think that there was, at certain points, the players, we had so much belief in what he did, that we thought that if he thinks that, it's for a reason. And at the end, many times, even different things when the fullbacks were coming, or when he started to play without a striker in Barcelona, they proved that they work. And if not, the day later, he shows that on the video that why we did these things, and they worked. So that gives you the confidence to keep going that way.
So Xabi, I see you've got a tactics board. We go and have a look at the managers. Well, Xabi, we've got the two teams set up here. To start with though, just from the difference from the managers, this is a central midfield role for Jose Mourinho, and that's central midfield for Pep. What was the differences in what both managers asked of you in those roles?
Well, I think that both, they adapt to the players that they have. And for sure, normally when my position, when I was playing with Jose, normally we used to pair with two centre midfielders, one aside. While when I was playing with Pep, I was more like the holding midfielder. Yeah. So this is more positional game where you have to be always playing this triangle. Sometimes you need to drop, as I've seen that Fernandinho is doing many times. When they come with two strikers, he likes to beat 3 against 2 to have a proper build-up, and you need to read with the positioning of the second strikers. If he's with you, one of the centre backs is starting the game, and that's the main things that.
The way we've got the board set up, it wasn't deliberately, but is this how you see maybe the game being in terms of, even though Manchester United are home, they may have to play in the counter-attack a lot?
I think that both managers, they like control. They like control, and maybe Jose, he feels that he has that control, leaving more the ball to City, because that's, and for sure, City, they like to have the ball, but not losing the control. And Pep, he would like to have the ball, but not to the players to lose their mind. After the movements, this is the picture. After everything is dynamic, with how he likes to play with the center fullbacks a little bit inside, and the offensive midfielders behind the center midfields, and that here is where everything is going to be decided. What's going to happen here? Here is too close. They will try to find the wingers, and after it's the duel. What's going to happen in this duel? And if he beats him, they will have more chances.
You mentioned the sort of fullbacks coming in, and that's something that everyone has spoken about. He's done that before. Is that as much sort of a defensive tactic, so they stop the counter-attacks, because that is what a Pep Guardiola team's biggest problem is counter-attacks? Yeah,
of course, because most of his teams, they try to, he makes the difficult thing, he tries to attack in a small space and to defend a big space, and that's the difficult part of football. But I would say that people tend to think about Pep that he just thinks about the offensive. No. I would say it's the opposite. He thinks more about the defensive, how to not the other team play well, so we have the most control of the game. That's his vision on how to. And I've seen images of Aguero running back or Silva pressing so much, and I'm sure that he's changing that mentality and that intensity. I think that the intensity that City are gaining on the offensive, on the defensive and the offensive, it's very important.
Do you think then that Pep Guardiola have a massive role to play with John Stones? Not as much on the ball, but even his defensive actions as well. So it won't just be about stepping out with the ball, getting started from the back. He'll actually help him defensively.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that for Pep, it's been a key signing, Stones. I think that for Stones it's great news that he's gonna learn so much, because it's not just about, as you said, it's not just about the offensive or I get the ball here from the keeper and how we start building up the game. It's about the position I need to get when the ball is here, where I have to be, how close I have to be with the strikers, or when we are close to our box, I have to be the leader of the, well, you know it better than me, the back four, and we need to be on one line, and it can't be unpicks the defense. So for sure he's gonna improve a lot defensively as well.
Do you think this might be a problem of Manchester United? It's the different way of having a midfield three, where you have two and then you have a one, rather than Manchester City play with one and they have De Bruyne and Silva in these positions, especially if Pogba, think he's going to be a great player, but he does lose the position a lot. Do you think that could cause them a problem in those spaces?
Well, of course, they have great players with great qualities. I think that Zlatan, he likes to drop, back, he can dribble for 40 yards. Martial as well, 1 against 1, he's great on those actions. They have players with great potential. So in any action, even if the game looks that it's under control of City, in one action everything can change because the quality and the talent that United players have. So it's gonna be really. I see very, very tight and very close the game, and
you know that position there that we've spoke about the fullbacks going into midfield and maybe the problems it could give Manchester City. You think someone like Martial, I'm thinking of your experience with Pep. I think it was 2 Champions League semi-finals. You maybe lost on the counter-attack to Madrid and Atletico. Is that a problem in how sort of Pep likes to play? That's always your problem.
For sure, he will be very cautious about controlling the players that might be dangerous. We know that Martial can be very dangerous. Mata can play, Mkhitaryan can play, different qualities, but for sure he knows them very well. He knows where the danger might come from, and he will like to control that, no doubt about that.
Okay, Xavi, prediction?
Prediction.
Come on!
This is the difficult part. 1 each.
Ah, no.